So what do you mean by productivity? That's my question. What do you mean by productivity? I want to make it very simple. I know that you might be having your own definitions and so forth. You might have done your own research. That's all fine. But let me make it very, very simple. Productivity means accomplishing something, accomplishing a task, accomplishing a project. Is that correct? How many of you agree to that? If you believe that it's right, just type the letter R in the chat. If you believe that accomplishing a task or fulfilling a task is called productivity. Yes or no? Okay, I got true, agree. The answer to this question, I want everyone to focus on this question. The answer is no. It's not about accomplishing a task or completing a task or finishing a task. There are certain criteria that you have to think about it. It must be effectively done, it must be efficiently done, and it must be effectively done. There must be these two criteria. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean by these two terms? Let me make it very, very simple so that you can understand. Number one, doing the right thing. Doing the right thing and doing them in the right manner. Now here, the word right, the second right, when I use number two, doing them right, meaning using your ethics. You can do it the way that you want to, but here, if you are completing and if you're finishing something, make sure that you do the right thing. You purchase the right thing. You shop the right thing. You plan the right thing. And when you plan, when you buy, when you travel, make sure that you are doing it with the right intention. How many of you got it? I want you to type intention and ethics. I and E. Everything should be, your morale should be right. You can finish your things. If I take you to the previous slide, if I ask this one, well, accomplishing a task, well, you can do that. You can do that without being honest. You can do that without integrity, but that's not what we mean here. We mean these two things. Number one, doing the right thing and doing it with the right intention and right morale or ethics. It's not over. And achieving the right outcome. What do you mean the right outcome? Because outcome, you will always get outcome, whether you do or you don't do, whether you act or you enact, you will definitely get results or you will get outcome. The question is, you must be able to see the outcome even before you take the action. Start with end in mind. How many of you got it? Say got it. You got to start with end in mind. You must be able to see, this is what I want to achieve. I know that I am following. This is my intention. I know that I have to keep my morale. I need to know that I have to keep my ethics. And therefore, there would be a lot of bumps that's going to happen. There would be a lot of obstacles. However, this is what I want to achieve. Number three. Point number four, within a given time or within the right time. If you're not able to achieve a task within the given period of time, then that's not productivity. You must be able to finish at least X%. You must move from where you are right now. Sometimes you may not be able to finish 100%. And there's a very good book which I would definitely recommend. It's called The Atomic Habits. Right? It does not talk about finishing a job. It's about progressing. It's about moving from where you are. 1 degree change, or it could be 1% moving forward. If you are able to do that, at least at the end of the day or end of the task, you can come and say that, yes, we started. We didn't finish. However, we have covered 50%. That's it. It shows a good result. Number 5, use the right resources. When I say resources, it could be your time. It could be resources like people. It could be many things. Use the right one. For me, I'll tell you one example. I don't take any pirated stuff. I use everything. Any software that I'm using, I make sure that I got the copyrighted stuff with me. Why? Because number 1, it's my ethics, my intention, and the resources that I use. It must be the right resources. How many of you got it? Because I can do it. Nobody's watching me. I can do it. Even the Microsoft, whatever it is, anything that I use, I make sure that I use the right product, the right application, right software. Everything should be right. People will come and say that, Sensei, you don't have to do that. I can give you this. Just pay me 2,000 rupees. I will say, no, rather than paying you 2,000 rupees, I'll pay 20,000 and I'll get the right stuff. Number 6, and apply the right process. Everything must be right. The thing that you do must be right. The way that you must do is right. Your intention must be right. The resources must be right. The procedure and the process must be right. And then if you achieve that within the right time and you get the right objective, that's what we call as being productive. How many of you got it? Say crystal clear. It's not about finishing stuff or getting things done. How many of you got it? I want everyone to go and type. This is my understanding of productivity. This is not a definition taken from Google. Okay, this is what I believe. This all must be right, and then you get the result. That's when you can sleep with fulfillment. Otherwise, you won't. Something will be stabbing on you, saying that this is something that you did wrong. You might have achieved that, but this is not right. Now, let's talk about productivity matrix. What is productivity matrix? Doing the right thing. I want everyone to focus. Doing the right thing. Number 2, using the right resources. Number 3, applying the right procedure or processes. And number 4 is achieving the right objective within the right time. All this, doing what you're doing must be right. The resources that you're using, that could be team, that could be a lot of things. It could be the software and everything. It could be the process and the procedures and the SOP that you're using. No shortcuts, no jumping over. You have to make sure that you are doing no bribing, for example. Everything must be right, because you as a leader, you must be seeing the long term. And then you should be able to achieve the right objective within the right time. That is what we call as being productive. And I call it productivity matrix. You can take a picture of this, you can show this, you can share this, and you can start teaching about this. Let's look at the next one. Kanban board. Now, this is a system where there are many people working as a team and they use the system. There are different systems which I'll be introducing tomorrow as well in the next session. Now, here's stories. Then from stories, you go to to-do list, which I don't agree with. I call it as achievement list. So it has to move from stories. Stories could be a junk. Okay, a junk. From stories, then if you take action, it goes on to to-do list. From there, it goes to, if you are in progress, as I mentioned earlier, it could be I have completed 10%, 15%, 20%. In progress can also be divided based on percentage. So you can have subdivision under in progress, where you can say, if you've got a team of 10 people and you can say, how many of you have completed 10%, you go and stick your sticky notes here under 10%. So you know that it becomes a visual board. There is a good book which is called the 4DX. 4DX is a system that we followed in the company. And the 4DX is also somewhere where it's an image that you can see. You can see that because it's then on your desktop. Everyone walking through your desk can see where you are right now. The same thing happens with the board. So if you have completed 10%, then you can show that, well, we have completed 10%. Or you can use a different color code, like the yellow sticker that you can see, or the pink or the black, whichever it is, you can use that. Then once that happens, then you go for the beta test. You go for the alpha, what you call as the silver test, and the golden test, what you call as. And then once at that, you do the evaluation, and then you say that, well, we have got it out in the marketplace. So this is a cycle where you know that you are productive and you are moving forward. What do you mean by productivity, and why did I show this? Productivity is not staying in a place. Productivity is always advancing. I want you all to type P is equal to A. P is productivity and A is advancing or moving forward. In the process, it is moving forward. It's something, there's a life to it. It's not about achieving it, but you're moving forward. And this is a tool where you can identify whether you're moving forward or not. Let's move on to the next one, time optimization. Now, this is something that you all might have seen. If there are hundreds of tasks on your table, the first thing that you have to ask yourself, what are the tasks that I can delete? And this is from the 7 Habits from Stephen Covey. What are the things that I can delete? You delete all those things. You don't even have to open those files or folders. There are hundreds of mails that comes to me, and I don't subscribe to everything. Always keep in mind, if you subscribe to every email, then your inbox will be filled with junk mails. So whenever you are giving your email address for buying something, definitely they're going to bombard your inbox with emails that you don't need. So what I do is I don't read them, number one, and number two, I don't ask for, or I don't share my email with everyone. Or you must be having a different email ID where you can use that for all the junk mails, and then you have a very clear email where you can use that. That's how you can become productive. How many of you got it? So you can use 2 email addresses. One is for all the junk. Whenever you want to share your email, you share that one. For example, it could be Google, and then you use the other one, which is a Hotmail address where you can get all the screened and productive mails that you are looking forward. So number 1 is delete. This is something that you all know because you are all leaders. Number 2 is ask yourself, what are the things that I can delegate to somebody else who can do the task? I don't have to do it. I don't have to sit on top of it, and I can give this to somebody else. Now, by giving a task to somebody else, what is going to happen? You are giving them the freedom to take decision. They become the decision makers. You are building leaders. So delegation is not dumping a job upon somebody else. At the same time, you are building leadership there. And when you delegate something, always keep in mind multitasking. Remember, we spoke about that multitasking in the first part of this video, whereby you should not be dumping everything to a person. Whenever you're delegating something to a person, you should ask yourself, is this task something that he would be interested to do? If there are 10 people in your team, if there's a task A, let's say that's something to do with a creative writing, then you ask yourself, among these 10 people, who is best in writing, who likes or who loves or whose passion is to write? Approach that person and then ask that person whether he has got time, because if he's working on some other project and then you dump your project also on top of him, that's called multitasking. You should be able to manage the person's time and productivity, and therefore you should be able to give him or her enough time for getting out of the first task, take a break, and then come and do your second task. So delegation is an art and a science, and you must be very clear about what to delegate, whom to delegate, and when to delegate. How many of you got it? Type crystal clear, CC. I'm not going deep into this. This is something, the 4 quadrants, the 4 Ds, which most of you know. I'm just touching that. Great. Number 3 is decide. Now, this is the most crucial area. What do you mean by decide? Decide means it's important, but it's not urgent. Meaning, well, by the next, you got around about 20 days to work out on this particular project. But then you have to make sure that you schedule, you block your time. Scheduling and blocking your time is it's a part of productivity. Once again, let me tell you, if you have a task which you don't have to finish it today, you're gone maybe 1 month or 2 months to complete that, then you have to decide, you have to schedule, you have to block your time or block the time of your teammates so they can work on the project, and by the time it's your deadline, the project is finished. Just like what Brian Tracy in his book Eat the Frog says, eat it little by little or eat the big frog, so that on the day of the submission of the project, whatever it is, that the frog is still small and you have eaten up the frog. The frog should not be bigger than you. If you don't decide, if you don't touch on that particular task, then it's just like a frog. The frog becomes bigger and bigger, and on the day of the submission, the frog will eat you up. Sometimes you may even lose your job, or maybe you lose your contract and so forth. Therefore, you must be very careful. The 3rd quadrant is very, very crucial. You must be very planned, just like a leader. And number 4 is do. These are things that only you can do it. Only you can do it. If somebody else can do it, just delegate that. Delegate that. You don't have to do it. But there are certain tasks that you have to do. Maybe it's a contract where you have to sign. You can't ask somebody else to sign for you. And that things you must do. And let's take another example. If you want to build your body, you can't ask somebody, you can't delegate that to somebody else and say, Rafi, go and do 10 push-ups for me. You can't do that. You have to go on the gym. You have to go on the floor and you have to do it. So these are the things that you have to do. And make sure every single day, don't do a lot of things. Don't overload yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself. Do the things that you can do it comfortably. Now, I know that you might sometimes argue, Sensei, you're talking about being in the comfort zone. I didn't say that being in the comfort zone, but make sure that you don't overdo yourself and don't stretch yourself too much. Because when you overstretch yourself, you're going to break. Just like you're doing a stretching exercise. That's a limiting for, you have to stretch a little, then a little, and then a little. The same thing happens. So don't stretch or overstretch yourself. I don't want you to break yourself. Ask yourself, what are the things that I need to do today, and just do it. So these are the 4 Ds when it comes to time optimization. Now, let's talk about leveraging of your money. Now, why am I talking about all those things? This all are something to do with productivity. Wherever you can save time, that's important. The key is saving time. All the equipments, all the devices, all the companies that you see today are working on one objective. That is, how can I save time of my customer? If I can give them a solution, an idea, an application or a software which can save their time, whether it is by like a train, for example, a fast train or a bullet train, which again saves your time. Number two, it could be a software where, you know, in a click of a button, you can send, for example, thousands of email or thousands of WhatsApp messages in one click. That means it's all about speed. So everything is about speed. And here again, if you can make money fast, that's called productivity. How many of you agree to that? Money is good because you must be having money. You must be rich so that you can help other people. It's not that money is evil. No, money is good. You must attract money. And you must be using money. Money is a waste when you keep and when you save the money. Then it's a waste. Money should be something that must be rotated in the marketplace. You get money, you give money, you make sure that that multiplies. That's how you need to work. And this is something that most of you might have done from ESBI, which is Robert Kiyosaki's very good book, which is called the Poor Dad, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. Most of the people, they work on time. They trade their time as employees because you work from 9 in the morning till 5. And one day, if you don't go for work, that means you're not going to get paid. Your salary is cut for that day. And if you lose your job, you don't get paid anymore. Until otherwise, you're a government employee and you get pension. Otherwise, you get paid for the time that you work. You trade time. Now, is it good to be an employee? The answer is absolutely fine. Because if there are no employees in this world, you won't be able to move your papers forward. So I don't like people saying that you should not be an employee and you should be an entrepreneur. I don't believe in that, because there must be employees. And if you look at our family, our fathers and great fathers and so forth, they were employees. So there's nothing wrong in it, because everyone does not go behind money. So if they don't go behind money, don't bring them and say that you have to make money. You have got experience and talent. Why don't you make 100 times more than what you're making right now? No. Don't do that, because they are made for that. They are built and they are satisfied with what they are doing. So support them, encourage them. So the first one is employees who work and who trade their time. The second one is self-employees. Now, who is a self-employee? A self-employee is somebody who was an employee and now he has taken the idea, the knowledge, the skill, the wisdom, and now he wants to start his own business. That's good. But here the biggest challenge is he is the one to do everything from morning till evening. He's the one, if it is a physical shop, he's the one to open the shop. He's the one to do the sales, the marketing, the telephone call, the customer call, the complaints, and then the banking and everything. Now, he's not productive. How many of you got it? You're not productive because you're doing everything. You're overwhelmed. You're doing multitasking, because if you are a self-employed, you become a multitasker. I don't know if this is the correct English word or terminology. However, let me tell you, this is not going to work. And earlier he has to work only from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and now from 9 o'clock he works until 10 o'clock in the place, wherever, office or whatever it is. He comes back and he's got all this tension, and now he or she gets bombarded from his spouse because he does not give time to his family. What's going to happen? He's going to lose his health and everything, and sometimes he may also lose his interest in the job that he was doing or the business that he's doing, and then he goes back as an employee. How many of you got it? Say crystal clear if you got it. From a self-employed, he goes back to an employee. The third quadrant is, that's not the third, that's the fourth one. The third quadrant is the B quadrant. The B quadrant is where you start a business. You may be doing the same thing what you're doing in quadrant number 2, which is an S quadrant. However, here you ask somebody else to do it for you, or there's a system that works for you. You don't have to do it. You don't work in the business, rather you work on the business. That's what you do. If you work on the business, now you got the time to think as a leader. You can ask yourself, how can I take this business to the next level? How can I penetrate into new market? How can I introduce new products to this particular business? How can I move from the business from youngsters to adults? How can I move to the next age group? How can I move my product from maybe female to male? You can ask yourself, and this is only possible if you are not working in the business, but you're working on the business. That's how you do. That's how you save your time. That's how you become productive. Productive doesn't mean that you should be working 24/7. There can be somebody else who can work for you. The last one is investment, and this is not my what do you call my formula. This is by Richard Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki, not Richard, but Robert Kiyosaki, from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. The last one is investment, whereby you're getting money as an employee. You can invest the money. As a self-employed, you can invest the money. As a business owner, you can invest the money in properties that can generate revenue by itself, where the money works and makes money. How many of you got it? You don't work anymore. The money works for you. Money makes money for you. How many of you got it? Say got it. And that's the fourth quadrant where you can completely relax. And most of the rich people are in this quadrant. They are either in quadrant number 4 or quadrant number 3. You will not find a rich person in quadrant number 2 or quadrant number 1. And I'll take it to the next level as well. Okay, so this is something that we can learn from that particular book. Now, let's move on to leverage of productivity. Now, what do you mean by leverage of productivity? Let's look at this one. Do. Now, this is exactly like the employees. You do and you trade your time and you get paid for what you do. Nothing more, nothing less. If you work for 5 hours, you get paid for 5 hours. If you work for 2 hours, you get paid for 2 hours. If you take leave, then you don't get paid. Now from here, what is the next one is automate. What do you mean by that? You take your product, for example, like what I'm doing right now, I'm recording this video, and this video can go to my LMS or learning management system. Now I can generate revenue from that audio. I can generate revenue from that video. I can take that video, convert that into an ebook, sell it on Amazon, and still I can make revenue out of it. How many of you got it? That's called automating your service. If you're in a service industry, you can automate it. You don't have to do it. You do it once and then you leverage. How many of you got it? This is something that I want everyone to think. Whoever you are, whatever industry you are, you ask yourself, I have got knowledge, I got wisdom. How can I teach this to somebody else? You may not be a teacher. You may not be a presenter or a faculty or anything, but I know something, my experience. How can I give this to somebody else? Because today you got platforms that can help you do that. Now, number 3 is consultant. Now, what do you mean by consultant? I know some of you are consultant here. Now, what do you mean by consultant? Consultant is just like number 1. What does that mean? When you do something, you are investing your time. You're trading for time. As a consultant, you must trade your time because you're going to different offices. You're having meeting with them. This is personal meeting. You're trading your time. You can charge more. That's why consultants, they charge more than quadrant number 1 and quadrant number 2. Why? You are an expert in a particular industry or field, and you're giving your time. You're trading your time. Therefore, you can charge it. Do not be miser or do not be cheap as a consultant. If you are wearing the hat or a cap of a consultant, then make sure that you charge high because you are trading your time. And the last one is outsourcing. That is the example of what I was talking to one of the leaders here. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't have to do it. You can get things done. That's leadership. And that's why youngsters of age 19, 20, 25, etc., they're making lakhs and crores every single month. Why? Because they're now doing everything by themselves. They've got teams who can work for them. These are experts. The people who are working for them are experts. And these are only 19 years old, and the team that is working on the MBA graduates and who are good at multi-marketing or social media marketing, whatever, digital marketing, and all those things, different areas. So always keep in mind, how can I outsource my things? I don't have to get somebody in my payroll. How can I outsource my things and get my things done before time? How can I do it? If you can find an answer to that, then you have got it. I'll tell you one thing. In today's world, if you want to become rich, I'm using the word rich here. I know some people, they don't like to use the word rich at all, but let me use it because I love this word. Rich also means rich mindset. And the fastest way to become rich and be very productive, 24 hours, you got 24 hours, I got 24 hours. A person who has got 15 to 25 years of experience, he has also got 24 hours. But someone makes millions of dollars, and there's another one who's completely broke, working day and night. If you want to be very productive, you must move from what you're doing right now to digital. I want everyone to go and type digital. The world has changed. Digital. Digital. Everything is AI based. Artificial intelligence. Everything. Whether it is a voice, whether it is a text, whether it is... I don't know the number of AI tools that I'm using. Whether it is for my YouTube, I'm using AI tool. There are different AI tools, like vidIQ is an AI tool. If you go to TubeBuddy, is an AI tool. If I want to create my video, I'm using an AI tool. For getting my text done, I'm using an AI tool. For Grammarly is another tool which I use. I have subscribed to all the AI tools, which saves my time. If you are not digital, then I'll tell you, people without your experience and talent, they'll beat you. They'll beat you like anything. And they'll be more productive than you. They won't be having the education, qualification, experience, or nothing like you. And you will be having one thing. You will be having one thing, and that is called ego. And the other thing is called bottleneck. Ego. If you want to grow, if you want to be productive, throw out those ego and throw off those bottleneck and get into, learn. Yesterday I was learning from someone, young chap, very young chap. And let me tell you, we had 2 days session. 2 days means 1.5 hours and 1.5 hours. That's it. And yesterday, by the end, day for yesterday, he made around about 3 lakh rupees in 1 hour. And yesterday he made around about 10 lakh rupees in 3 hours time. He's doing that every single day. Just imagine how much money he's making. Just 1.5 hours. That's the beauty. Very young chap. And most of my teachers are young. One of my teacher who makes millions, he's just turning 40 years now. And I'm 56. He's just turning 40 years now because his birthday is coming, and he said that I'm going to bring something during my 40th birthday. He's the one who's supporting people like Les Brown in the world. He's an Indian in the US. Just imagine. Are they productive? The answer is yes. Have they got experience like me? No. Are they aged like me? No. But they are productive, and therefore you have to salute them. And I have to throw off my ego out of the window. I have to throw my bottleneck, and I have to agree blindly to what they are saying, because they are producing something which is called a result. I want you all to type result. The world looks for result, not your experience. Not your experience. People sometimes ask me, sir, I don't have a degree, I don't have a qualification. Will I get job? If you can produce result, you can get a job. And that's why Tony Robbins calls himself as results coach. He produces results. If you can produce result, you can charge as much as you want as a coach, as a consultant, as anything.